All right, here we go. Hey, gang, it's Jimmy coming to you from the Cowtown compound with facts, not fiction. Pretty excited tonight. If you know me, then you know my passion is transparency in the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act, transparency in government. So I'm excited to have gubernatorial candidate Colt Shelby running on the Libertarian ticket for the election in November to come on and talk about transparency with us. So, Colt, glad you came on with me, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy. Glad to be here. This is a great opportunity. You know,
Well,
most people watch you because they're mad at you, not because they love you.
yeah. Well, this is a subject near to dear to me, as you know, how important government transparency is to me. And you talk quite a bit in your platform about transparency. So why don't you start by giving us your vision of transparency in government?
First off, being transparent is not popular. I'll let you know that firsthand. People, they want you to say what they want to hear, right? And I'm kind of like you in that aspect, Jimmy. I look up to you and all the reports you do. Sometimes I don't agree with some of it, nobody does. But if it's facts, and if the facts are there, you can fact check it, right? Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And I think that's very important. So what got me into this was the prison in Franklin County and where, when Sarah Sanders had blocked the FOIA for us in Franklin County, we couldn't see anything they were doing. So we're talking using taxpayer dollars. And when I seen that deficiency in state government, and then you see why she did it, that's a huge problem. It wasn't for her safety. This is for hiding things. And so a man told me one time, he said, if you don't want mama knowing, don't write it down. And, that's always kind of been the law of the political world. Well, my biggest issue is we deserve that transparency. So my vision is, just like many other things that the Sanders administration has done, is to undo it, which, there's a process to getting this open back up. Because currently, the executive branch is exempt from FOIA. There's about 2,000 employees total from top to bottom in the executive branch. So that's a lot of important information that we should and we deserve. We have the right to that information. But the most important reason why I want that information is to keep them, it's just for the public trust. And I think that is a very important thing that we need to gain back, because anybody that pays attention to politics, I don't think there's a lot of trust out there. And I would like to regain that public trust. And I think if I can turn this around and open that executive branch up to where they are able to be FOIA'd, and I would like to do an independent contractor or independent in the government concept to where folks had that opportunity and could get accurate information within that 72-hour period. So my vision is for the citizens of Arkansas to get whatever information they want from the state government.
The exemption you're talking about is under Arkansas Code 2519-105B7 in exemption.
Yep. Okay? Right.
I'm going to read it to you. Okay. B7 exemption: unpublished memorandum, working papers, and correspondence of the governor, members of the General Assembly, Supreme Court justices, Court of Appeal judges, and the Attorney General. Okay. So it's not just the governor's office, but in that language, unpublished memorandum and working papers and correspondence covers a broad range. And when you look at legal definitions of the Arkansas Supreme Court, the legislature has never defined working papers, nor has the Arkansas Supreme Court. But I think it gives a connotation that pretty much everything in that situation, the emails, correspondence, anything they're working on other than financial information is exempt. Okay, so it doesn't just apply to the governor, it applies to, so what I'm hearing you say, and you tell me if I'm right, is that you want to work to legislation to amend that.
Absolutely.
To amend that.
Absolutely. I think the people of Arkansas, and like I said, it's not just the governor. There's probably about everybody underneath the governor in that executive branch are exempt, because anytime you want some information that you really need, that's real critical to something that's dear to your heart, that you care about, you can't get information from it. It's basically they're telling you, we're going to take your tax dollars, but it's none of your business what I'm doing.
It's interesting you say that, because the exemption is very clear in its language. It says memorandum, working papers, and correspondence of the governor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It doesn't say the governor's staff, it says of the governor. So there's actually Supreme Court rulings on this that saying, I believe it's one is Scott versus Smith, that actually state that, you know, the exemption is to that person that holds the office. It's not to the person, the staff member of that office. So if it's a working paper correspondence of a governor's staff member, you know, that should be released. But to your point, very few people know that, in the governor's office, and these offices are not going to tell you that.
No. Well, I usually CC Joey McCutcheon in them. Like if I think there's a deficiency in them, I'll contact Joey, and he'll kind of guide me in the right direction, because Joey is well known throughout the state of Arkansas for being the man to go to. And
yeah, well, he's my attorney.
Yeah.
Joey and I do cases all over the state, and
you do, and I do appreciate that, because we need people like that to keep people honest, Jimmy. And everybody was worried about me coming on your show, because they're like, "Oh, are you sure, Jimmy?" I was like, "Let me tell you something. Jimmy cuts nobody's slack. If his own mama did something corrupt, she would be on that morning paper, and it's just how it is." And I appreciate that. That's not a bad attribute, in my opinion. And if there was something on Colt Shelby, trust me, it would have been blasted at this point in time. But luckily, I've lived a good life, and I haven't been a corrupt person. So, Jimmy, I'm good, happy hunting to anyone.
Yeah, you know me, and you're exactly right. And the question on transparency is, you have this vision for it that I think the majority of Arkansans share. Okay. And while our state has what is, some will argue, the very best Freedom of Information Act laws, but certainly in the top 2 or 3 in the nation, right? Because each state has their own for you. Okay. Yep. All right. To somebody like you, though, that's gone through what you did, that actually got you into this governor's race and into politics, fighting those battles up in Franklin County, and people around the state that have fought these Freedom of Information Act battles and transparency battles, it's still not enough. It's not good enough, is it? It may be one of the best in the nation, but we can do that.
No, it's not, because it works off a trust system, right? Mm-hmm. You've got to be able to trust that person's going to give you all the information that they have, whether it's their text messages, whether it's their emails. And there's no independent system set up to where somebody can pull. Now, the Board of Corrections, prior to the new members, which one of them was an ex-governor staffer, the Board of Corrections is like, here's access to all of our emails. So actually, the secretary had access to all that. So anytime you wanted something through their work email, she just pulled it up. She didn't have to ask. And I like that method. But I think there ought to be, if you're found guilty of lying, perjury, extortion, whatever you want to call it, I think there ought to be consequences for these lawmakers, or whatever position you hold in government. Because if you're an elected official, and you lose that trust with the public, you deserve a repercussion.
I agree with that. In the laws on transparency, there's a Arkansas Code 2519-104 and the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act says that if anybody negligently violates anything in that chapter, they're guilty of a Class C misdemeanor. Now, I'm going to make 2 points here. One is, good luck getting a prosecutor to do that, because that's never been done. Nobody's ever been prosecuted successfully for that.
Right.
Number 2, though, to your point, and I'm going to get to a point here, is that under Title V, I believe it's Arkansas Code 554-121. Yeah, it's tampering with public records. So if anybody destroys, obliterates, or the key word here, conceals a public record, that is a Class D felony. Okay. And while those laws are in place, it goes back to, okay, but are they going to get used? Are they going to be prosecuted? for actually doing that? And the answer is no.
No.
So you as governor, what have
They're
you
gonna,
done
but
legislatively to go in and say that, hey, we're going to put teeth in these laws? What can we do?
well, we're gonna follow the law, Jimmy. It's gonna be something that's never been done. And the same with our ethics. I've been working for large oil companies all my career, so ethics is a huge part in any major business. And if you did the things that our state government gets away with, you'd be fired before you hit the door. We do so many unethical things inside our state government. The brother-in-law system, the money moving around stuff. There's just so much bad things that happen that there's no accountability for it, and it's just free for all. I mean, they're just a bunch of heathens running around if they're doing whatever they want. And if I'm elected governor, there's going to be accountability, and the ethics are going to change. We're going to have a lot better ethics commissioner and committee going on, because what I see happening right in front of our eyes, and they're pretty much just standing back like, what are you going to do about it? Because they know that, just like you said, nobody's ever been prosecuted for it. Nobody's ever been proven guilty of it. But the best way to stop that is start setting examples. You start putting politicians in prison, politicians start acting right.
Well, and I agree. And there's so many statutes. I always say that when government creates laws that apply to itself, and most of them, what people don't even realize, that when they enact laws that apply to them, that in those laws, most times there's not even a penalty for violating that law.
No, it's just normal. That's a normal Monday. That's a normal Monday, Jimmy. And it's already a law. Why are we not abiding it?
Yeah.
If they don't like it, take the law away. Right. If we want to be, if they don't like it, take it away. Okay, we're not going to do anything about it. Might as well take it away. But I'd rather go to the other end and start holding these people accountable.
To your whole point on this, and I want to read you the intent, the legislative intent in 1967 of the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act, because it's something I hold dear, and my friend Joey McCutcheon holds dear too. And I think it kind of goes to the point you're talking about. It is vital in a democratic society that public business be performed in an open and public manner, so that the electors, I love that word in there, the electors, the citizens, right, shall be advised of the performance of public officials and of the decisions that are reached in public activity and in making public policy, making it possible for them or their representatives to learn and to report fully the activities of their public officials. You agree with that language, right?
Oh man, do I?
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I think that is fantastic.
So here's the big question for you. Okay, we talked about believing in transparency. We talked about, I don't think there's any question that Arkansans are going to argue with you on that. Okay, your biggest problem on this whole thing on transparency, like a lot of other issues that are going to come up, is how do you get it done? How do you get it done in the legislature? Because you're going to come in, if you're elected, you're going to come in and you're going to be with a majority of Republicans who aren't made up of Republicans in the state legislature, and then you're going to have some Democrats. So how does Colt Shelby go about affecting this change and working with those legislators?
Well, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think most of the legislators are tired of the nonsense, right? They know it's nonsense. The majority, not all, but a majority know it's nonsense. But to go a little further with that question, the way I plan on approaching it and holding these people accountable is almost the same way you catch a mouse. You put a little bit of cheese out there and you start catching these mice, and you start thinning out the mice in your house, or you put a cat in there and you get rid of the mice. And that's what I plan on doing. We're gonna go in there, and everybody's going to be professional. They're going to do the best job that they can. And I don't think there's going to be anything that's ethical and wants to push forward the narrative to regain public trust. I mean, if they don't want that, then I mean, it needs to be shared with their constituents, right? Their electors.
All right, you just said something, okay? You just use an analogy of getting cheese to lure the mouse, right?
That's right.
Okay, so with the legislators, if you're going to get them to agree to getting rid of B7, that's going to make all of their correspondence and working papers fall under FOIA and not exempt, right? So what's the cheese to do that? What's the cheese you're going to use to get
imagine if your legislator, your constituent, and your legislator says, nah, I don't think I like that. I think that's good shared information. I think people need to know that their elected official is maybe a little bit afraid to be open about the information he has.
No, I don't disagree with that a bit.
I don't think there's any better way than just being like, well, let's, today there was a special announcement from Sarah Sanders about sending in your camping pictures for your kids. I think a great special announcement would be say it did fail.
Right.
I think a good special announcement for a leader would be, well, Arkansas today, I tried to pass legislation to push a policy that I felt dear to my heart and a lot of my friends and citizens of Arkansas deserve. And this person doesn't believe in the transparency. And this is my special alert for today. How do you think that would go?
No, I don't disagree. So what you're telling me is you'll use the bully pulpit.
Absolutely.
And okay, all right. No, I'm fine with that.
If it's for the better good of this state, and we've got people that don't want to fall in line, it's not bullying. It's just putting it out there like, look, I'm trying to do what I said I would do. And apparently it's a bad idea.
Well, so if I'm getting this straight, you're probably going to be like me. You're going to be direct.
That's how you should do it. If I say I'm going to do something, Jimmy, and I got legislators stopping me from doing it, and I feel I'm in the right, then I think that's a good trouble to get in. The legislators may not like it, but they forget who they work for, and it's just a simple reminder. And how many phone calls do you think that legislator is going to get that day?
Yeah. No. I'm all about that. You know that. So, all right. Well, listen, good deal. I wanted to try to keep this discussion about 15 minutes, so we're there.
Okay.
What I'd like to do, and I know you and I could go on and talk hours about this, right?
I absolutely could.
What I'd like to do is get you to come back on, and we'll take a different issue.
I'm all for anything. You just surprise me with the topic, and we'll talk about it. And because I'm that upfront, I'm that transparent. I'll try to, when I'm home, I'll try to have an open forum here, because a lot of people don't like to get out. So this way they can ask questions. And, sometimes I don't get the best answers that they want to hear. I'm not the guy. If you want an elected official that's just going to tell this side what they want to hear or this side what they want to hear, it's not. And, people don't understand how some Democrats like me and some Republicans like me. Well, Jimmy, I'm not changing my story. It's because there's about that much difference between a Republican and a Democrat. Very little. But if we worry about the main things in Arkansas and people care about the main things in Arkansas, and transparency is one of the big ones, then guess what? Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, I bet you they could agree on that. And those are those are the important things that I'm pushing. I'm worried about important things for Arkansas. And this is one of them.
What I find across this state, where there's Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, liberals, libertarians, one thing that I'm talking about, people, not the government, but one thing people, the citizens, seem to come together on is government transparency.
Absolutely.
And so, all right, listen, man, you don't know how much I appreciate it. And
you too.
We'll get you back on and we'll do this again. How's that?
Thank you very much, Jimmy. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Colt.